my whole theme this week, or my intention this week, has been on balance. How do I find balance? What does that even mean in my life? And my equation might be different than your equation, but my intentions when talking in sort of the beginning and the opening of classes, hopefully that something will resonate with you. And I also want to prepare us for this journey on our mat today. And today it's an exploration of balance. If we look at even just the theory of exercise, it's meant to stress our body and then rest our body. However, we, in my experience, live in a society where we're not necessarily encouraged to rest as much as we stress. So yoga is one of these sort of blessings, one of these beautiful gifted opportunities that we have to really allow for time to rest. And even for time to observe in our abilities to rest and restore our body. Because if you're anything like me, it's not easy. One of the principles that lies behind Yin Yoga, and Yin Yoga tends to have a little bit of a different concept than the more sort of flowy type of yoga classes, is this one of allowing, of accepting. And when we live in a world where it's like stressing and we're like these doers and we love to be like these youngsters who are like changing the world, right? It's good, that's appropriate, we want to do that, but we need time also to just be. To just allow. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? That is the deepest intention for our practice today that I would like to set for us and that I invite you to participate in, is this sense of allowing, of accepting. And you'll find that you'll resist it a bit, that you'll kind of want to move or change the situation or resist the sensation to really sort of get out of it. But I encourage you today just to be in it, whether that be this like lovely, incredible opening, spaciousness, or even if that means being in a sense of discomfort. Not pain, okay? You're not allowed to be in pain, but a little bit of discomfort, especially in a Yin Yoga practice, can be apparent. So please be loving, please be kind, and let's just be accepting. So close your eyes, and we'll start here. Sort of sitting tall and softening your shoulders. And even here, resist changing anything. And just simply be. So you allow the breath just to move in its natural way. Maybe it's deep and sort of down into the belly, or maybe it's naturally a little more shallower in the upper chest. Neither or good or bad today. It's just a simple matter of accepting and allowing. When you take your next sort of natural exhale, allow for your hips to get a little heavier, for the weight of your body to descend down towards the floor, creating this heaviness, this depth of foundation. And keeping this heaviness in your hips. On your next inhale, just touch your hands lightly together in front of your chest. And again, keeping the heaviness in your hips. Now as you inhale, I want you to extend up through the crown of your head. Lift your chest towards your thumbs and get as tall as you can through the spine. Just keep that as you softly exhale. We'll start the class together with the sound of Om 3 times. And always encouraging you just to start sort of softly and then allow for our voices to come together, even allow for the natural sort of sound of your voice to peek to the corners of the room. Take a long inhale through your nose and then let out a bit of a sigh out through the mouth. And inhale softly to begin. Om. Beautiful. Release your hands, please, and softly open your eyes. Okay, you can come forward onto your hands and knees. We're actually going to start in child's pose. So for this first variation, taking your child's pose a little wider. So bring your knees right towards the edges of the mat. You can have your big toes together. You're going to sink your bum back towards your heels to the best of your abilities, and then stretch your arms out in front. And then even though you stretch your arms out in front, please just relax your upper body, relax your forearms. Give your head a place to rest on. And if at any time your shoulders are bothering you at all, you're welcome just to sort of slide the elbows back so that they're a little further behind you, a little more supported. And again, we're not necessarily changing anything at this time. We're just softening, letting go of the morning. As we take this place of allowing, there's a natural sense of watching, of observing, sort of participating in just the moment. Try to relax a little more into your shoulders and let your buttocks get heavy. Notice as time lingers on how things change. And today we're not resisting the change or even trying to direct the change. It's just noticing. Gently on your next inhale, come up onto your hands and knees, please. And this time you're going to turn to face me this way. So turn sideways on your mat. Yeah, I know, it always brings it. And then stagger yourself. So say if Max stays closer towards the wall, Linda comes this way, and then Joanne actually goes closer towards the wall. Yeah, there you go. So turn to face me this way, and then widen your knees. You're actually going to slide your knees out as wide as you can. So that's why we turn sideways on the mat, so that you have a little more cushion underneath your knees. You can even go as far as placing blankets, just like Linda did there, so you have a little more support. We even have extra mats if you'd like. Now open your feet out. So if you look back towards your feet, we're trying to make what's called frog pose. So I'll show you from behind. You want your knees to be as wide as you can. Your inner edges of your feet are on the floor and your heels are in line with your knees. And again, you're widening your knees sort of out as far as they'll allow for you this morning, and then come down onto your forearms. This is also a nice place where you can use bolsters. So placing a bolster underneath your forearms, placing something underneath your torso is a nice option. Especially seeing we have these lovely heated concrete floors. Even though they're lovely and heated, they're not necessarily so lovely on the forearms. I'll just place some props a little closer towards you, and don't feel like you have to use them, but just know that they're there if you would like to. And again, you find this variation, you find the pose and your breath, just as if you were just simply looking for it. Try to relax through your upper back, even just soften through your fingers and your jaw. There's really not a lot that you need to do here in this pose. You just simply allow gravity to press down on your hips. for the hips and the knees and the groins to naturally open. And you just receive all of that as you rest, as you breathe, as you let go. Of course. Do you want under one or both? Just this side. You'll notice, just like you did in child's pose, even though it was more of a milder pose, that as time lingers on, things change. Our sort of deepest or deep-rooted intention in a Yin Yoga class is that the more you soften, the more you sort of let go, the more space that you'll create. So if any time you feel like you're actually contracting more than creating space, then know that sometimes just backing out a little bit or making the pose a little softer or milder is the way that you can find that space that we long to find. We don't have too much longer in this pose, just a few more breaths. And gently on your next inhale, you can press down into the floor and just come back up onto your hands and knees. And slowly, don't be shy. If you want to moan or groan, bring your knees back in towards each other. You can turn the face to the center of the room and just a little bit of movement from side to side. Maybe just swishing the hips.
Lauren, if my heels weren't right on the floor, does that...
That's no problem. Yeah, as long as it didn't hurt. The stretch was intended to be more in the inner groins. So sometimes just the way our structures, the bone of our legs are, the heels will lift or they'll come back down.
Okay. I was just wondering if I should change the position of my legs in order to make sure that...
No, that's okay. Let's do some cat and cows. Doesn't it feel almost like that's where you want to go next? I can almost see it in your body. So spread your fingers and just press down into your knuckles and your fingertips. Start with a bit of a softness, almost a micro bend in your elbows. And starting at the beginning, or excuse me, at the tailbone, the end of your spine here, as you inhale, I want you to stick your bum out, soften your belly, and just look up across the room. If you catch someone's gaze, maybe smile. And then as you exhale, press down into your hands, round through the tailbone, the lower back, the upper back, and then let your head hang. Great, and let's repeat. Inhale, sticking your bum out, softening your belly, look up. Exhale, drawing your tailbone in, rounding through the spine, just letting the head hang between the arms. Let's do that 3 more times on your own. Just inhaling to look up. And exhaling to round. Last time, big inhale, sticking your bum out, looking up. And exhale, drawing your tailbone in and rounding. Just hold the round for a few breaths here. And the more you root down into the floor, the easier it will be to expand through the upper back. Okay. As you inhale, just softly release, just curving the spine just enough that you feel sort of soft and relaxed. We're going to come into what's called Anahatasana. So keeping your knees underneath your hips, walk your hands way out in front of you. You've probably seen most of your animals do these types of stretches. You can either have the feet on the floor or the toes tucked. As you inhale, first just lift your shoulders up away from the floor. And then as you exhale, you're going to stick your bum out, melt your upper back down, and bring your chest towards the floor. Yes. And of course, if your shoulders are bothering you at all, bending the elbows and placing your forearms down on the ground is gonna give a little extra support. And breathing into your nose and back out. Noticing the sensations as you are here in this pose. Last 3 breaths. Pressing into your hands as you inhale, push back up onto your hands and knees, and just be a bit dramatic here. Let out a big sigh. Great. Come and sit on your bum, please. You're going to stretch your legs out in front of you. We're just going to take a few moments just to mindfully align our bodies so that when we do these forward folds, we're doing it in a really appropriate way. So the first little test is you're going to stretch your legs out in front of you, and you can place your fingertips just beside you. And then take one of your hands, and I want you to first sit up nice and tall, and then feel particularly your lower lumbar spine. So as you run your hands right along the little notches here in your spine, if you feel any of the vertebrae popping out, and you will, then I want you to sit on something. The chip foam block is going to be the nicest option to begin. It's a little wider and a little softer to sit. And then as you sit on your block, please sit slightly off the front edge. So almost like you're going to fall off the front edge. And what this does is it lifts the back of your pelvis up, so even lifts your bum up a bit. And it will help you tilt the pelvis back so that you can create this nice natural curve in the lower lumbar spine. Of course, sometimes you need to move the goods, move the flesh of the buttocks out from underneath. Good. Now take your right knee and just widen it out to the side and bring your right foot to the inside edge of your left thigh. If this bothers your hip at all, then you can place something underneath the knee, or like a block or a bolster. Placing your hands just on either side of your left foot, take a big inhale and first just sit up nice and tall. Yeah, take a few breaths here. If that feels too high at all, feel free to use, that might just feel a little better. So we want to be mindful if you're dealing with any lower back issues or any pain up through the shoulders and the neck, then I want you to be really mindful. And we're going to do this together. So flex your left foot and root your left thigh down to the ground. Again, take another inhale to extend and lengthen through the top of your head. Then as you exhale, start to fold forward, keeping your left thigh pressing towards the floor. And at first, just keeping the length in your spine. So this is where you're going to stay, especially if you have any lower back issues. Keeping that curve in the lower back is important when we're dealing with any sort of chronic pain or any osteo. If you want to come further into more what we would call traditional yin-like pose, then at this point you can allow for the upper back to round. You can release your head down towards the floor, or even release it down maybe on a block or a bolster. And that will allow for the muscles in your neck and your shoulders to relax. Just like anything, it takes a few moments to settle. It takes a few moments for you just to let go. You can consciously let your shoulders relax. Let your face soften, your toes go. And breathing gently, being mindful of the sensations. And just allowing for the time, for the space, for the energy to do its work. And even let go of your belly and just relax it. Just allow for the breath to move into that area, for the belly and the body to respond to the natural flow of your inhalation and your exhalation. And even participate in being accepting of your body at this time in this pose. Gently on your next inhale, lift your chin up. Keep extending up to the top of your head, and as you get nice and tall through your spine, just back away from the front leg. Yeah, then keeping the length in your spine, we're going to twist to the right side. So placing your left hand on your right knee and your right hand behind you. Again, before you twist too deeply, just extend up through the top of your head. So you're continuing to gather length. And then as you exhale, you twist a little deeper, looking over that right shoulder. Breathe mindfully as you twist. Just one more breath as you are. And gently as you inhale, just untwist and stretch your right leg straight. Before we do the other side, let's take a moment just to sort of release any tension. So sometimes just shaking the legs is a nice option. It'll relax the fascia in your body. You can lean your hands back, bend your knees, and just wash the knees from side to side. Call these windshield wipers. Kind of appropriate, right? Then from here, before we go any further, just pause, bring the knees together, draw your shoulders back, and sort of puff your chest up as you lift your chin. And take a few breaths, just releasing through the upper back. And then you can relax and stretch your legs once again out in front of you. This time your right leg will be out in front, and you're going to bring the left foot just to the inner thigh of that right leg. Flexing your right foot just to begin, even again moving the flesh out from underneath if you need to. You can flex, or as you flex the foot, just bring your fingertips beside you and take a big inhale to sit up tall. Again, keeping the length in your spine to begin, you're almost sticking your bum out as you start to fold forward. Again, this is the sort of the safer way to approach the beginning of the pose, and then we can unfold as to how your body feels and what's nice on this side. So as you start to come down, keep a bit of a lift to your chin, so you're almost gazing up over the toes. And take a few breaths here, just rooting your right thigh down towards the ground. Then of course, if this is deep enough, and especially if you have any lower lumbar issues, you can just simply stay here, either resting your chin up on a block or looking over the toes. And if you're okay, sort of to move into that more yin-like posture, then you're going to widen the elbows, round to the upper back, and now you can just nod the head down towards your shin. Again, don't be shy if you need to adjust, especially in the beginning of the pose, sometimes with a prop underneath the hip or prop underneath the chin. And relaxing the periphery of your body can help trigger our parasympathetic part of our brain. The whole part of this brain, this part of our nervous system, is intended to help us in resting, in relaxing. It's amazing how intelligent our body is. It said, hey, maybe we need an off switch. Let's call it the parasympathetic brain. The best and actually the easiest way to sort of click the off switch is through the breath. So if you allow for your exhale to be even like a microsecond longer than your inhalation, it's like you just walked over and flipped the switch. Soften to your jaw. Even let your eyes sort of get heavier and sink a little further into the sockets. Another breath here. And then we'll start just at the top of your head. So lift your chin, continue to get length and long to the top of your head as you sit up nice and tall, just backing away from your front leg. Then we're going to twist our body, so turning over your left knee here, bringing your right hand to that knee, pulling the back shoulder back. Before you twist too deeply, again, take that big inhale to sit up tall, and then as you exhale, just pulling from the shoulders as you look behind you. And of course, breathing in and out. Just one more breath. And as you inhale, turn back through center. This time I'm going to get you to move your prop, so come and place the block just beside you if you're sitting on it, and then lie down on your back, please. So you may need to scoot yourself forward a little bit, and that's okay. At first, don't do anything, just relax. You can let the body go limp, sort of soften your face. Sometimes you even need to let your body just decompress. So you may feel a tightness in the back as you lie down, and then eventually, as you allow, as you sort of accept and love, the back will release, the tension will dissolve. Staying mindful of your body at this time. On your next inhale, start to walk your feet in towards you so that your knees are bent. Your feet, ideally, the heels are underneath the knees, and your feet are about hips distance apart. Then take your right ankle, please, and place it on top of your left thigh. So right ankle on your left thigh. Yeah. And there's two options here for this type of pose. We call this eye of the needle pose. It's quite a familiar pose for most people. And the first option is just to place your right hand to the inside edge of your right knee. You're going to gently press the knee away from you. And the second option, if you would like to take it, is reaching your hands between your legs and actually interlacing your fingers behind your left thigh. You're going to pull your legs in a little closer towards you, exactly. Now, as you pull your legs towards you, I want you to, this time mindfully, so bring your mind's eye, your attention to your right knee, and then energetically move the knee away. And relaxing your shoulders towards the ground, trying to soften your head towards the ground, and of course, breathing in and out through your nose. So if we look at the word balance, even here in this posture, it almost needs a little more effort in this pose to help you find the stretch. So then to find the balance in the posture physically in this moment, find areas that you can soften too. So maybe let go of the left heel and just let the foot sort of dangle down by your buttocks. Try to let that leg relax. And maybe you can soften a little more, say in the collarbones or the throat or the jaw and the cheeks. Sometimes just parting the lips or sort of moving your jaw around can help you in doing that. So that even though the effort is required to find the depth of the stretch, you can soften it by letting go in the areas that you don't need to hold on to. And then we can still find this nurturing, harmonious place. Have about 3 more breaths as you are, just allowing, accepting. And slowly on your next exhale, just release your legs, bringing your feet back down to the floor. You can relax your arms down by the sides of your body and maybe just rock your knees from side to side. And then come back to center. Take a breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and let it out. And let's do the other side. So bring your left ankle, please, on top of your right thigh. Again, any of the 2 options. So the left hand can just press to the inner edge of the knee, pushing the knee away from you. And the second option is to interlace your fingers now behind the right thigh, bringing your shin in a little closer towards your chest, and then with your mind's eye, with that awareness, just pressing that left knee energetically away from you. And of course, breathing into your nose and out to your nose. And again, just like anything, the first few moments you're observing, you're settling, even adjusting so that you can find the stretch. And today, find the balance. So again, give yourself permission to soften the periphery of your body, sort of let go in your feet, let go in your toes. Relax through the shoulders, let your head hang. Just a few more breaths on this side. Gently on your next exhale, releasing your legs, placing your feet back down on the floor. This time, please take your feet a little wider than your hips and simply let your knees knock in and sort of touch and rest on each other. Again, you can relax your hands on your belly or just along the sides of your body. Settle. There's this natural sensitivity when we come out of a pose, and if you open to it, it can be kind of special as you acknowledge your body in the moment. On your next inhale, walk your feet in a little closer, please. So again, they're back to hips distance apart, your heels underneath your knees. You can separate your knees so they're in line with your toes, and then bring your hands along the sides of your body. Turn your palms to face up. One at a time, I want you to lift your shoulders up so the sides of your body get long. So you're lifting your shoulders towards your ears, almost like a shrug, and then pull your shoulders together underneath you so they come towards each other. Your chest will lift away from the floor a little bit, and there'll be a curve in your lower back. This is a really nice curve. At the same time, lift your chin slightly away from your chest and press the back of your head into the floor. Take a few breaths just as you are. So when you press the back of your head into the floor like this, not only does it strengthen the back of your neck, which for the majority of us tends to be a weaker area of our body, but it also helps create that nice curve in the cervical spine, which is great for the discs, for the vertebrae. Keeping the back of your head pressing in, even keeping your shoulders rooted to the floor. On your next inhale, very mindfully lift your hips up into the air, please. Yeah. So first option from here, you can actually turn your palms down onto the ground and just push your hands into the floor. And second option, if there's room, draw your shoulders in even closer. So sometimes you kind of got to really roll from side to side to get the shoulders underneath you, and then see if your hands can't come in a little closer and maybe even interlace your fingers underneath your back. Yeah, there you go. Again, there's effort required in this pose. So instead of thinking of thrusting your hips up into the air, think more just about rooting down into the ground. So press your feet down, press your hands down, press your shoulders down, press your head down, and notice how that naturally allows for this lift. Just 2 more breaths. Last one. Good, and slowly come all the way back down. Let your body settle. Let out a bit of a sigh. And just slowly roll over to your right side into fetal position. Press your hands into the ground and push back up to a seat. Great. Turn to face me this way. This time we're going to open our legs out really wide. This is also going to be where, just like we did in that first forward fold, the half butterfly pose, where you're going to want to sit on something exactly like Max did. So your chip foam block is going to be your friend. You know what, if you want to practice these types of poses at home, you can use like phone books, right? Who needs your old phone books, right? Just use them as your yoga props. Again, reach behind you, grab for the flesh of your buttocks and just pull the goods out from underneath. Yeah. Then flex your feet, so dorsiflex, you pull your toes up towards you, and at the same time press your thighs down into the ground. So sometimes I just press my hands down as that sort of reminder. I do on occasion ask my 3-year-old to sit on my thighs. She doesn't have a long attention span, so it's usually just like a second there and then she's bouncing off. So keep the thighs rooted down and just place your fingertips behind you. Pushing your thighs down, now push your fingertips down and at the same time lift your chest up. You can squeeze your shoulder blades, either just gaze forward and close your eyes, or you can even slightly lift the chin. We're just going to take a few breaths here. Just soften the edges of your body as you breathe. So sometimes yoga is this like incredibly transformational, sort of blissed out thing, and then sometimes it's really frustrating and intense. And this pose tends to be one of those like frustrating and intense type of postures. So as we move and as you sort of allow for the time to get into this pose, I want you to be okay with wherever you land. So if it means that when you come forward, it's just simply a nod of your head, then I want you just to be okay with that today. It's just about accepting and loving. So with that being said, bring your hands a little further forward, actually just to the inner edges of your knees to begin. And as we come forward, I want you just to maintain the thighs rooting down, and then as we hold the pose, you can let go and relax the legs. So again, keeping your thighs rooted, take another inhale. Then as you exhale, start to tilt your pelvis and lean a little further forward into your legs. You can walk the hands further out in front of you depending on how far you're able to come down. Whether that means coming onto your forearms. And the same thing goes, like any yoga pose, you're welcome to use props. And if you'd like to sort of prop your elbows up or your forearms, you can do that too. The more you send your bum back, the more you send your pelvis back, the more you'll be able to keep the curve in your lower back as you come down. Good, relax your shoulders. Even as you take time here in the pose, you can start to relax your feet, start to relax the muscles in your legs, soften in your upper back, sort of melting the heart towards the floor. Just breathe in and out through your nose. And feeling your body as you breathe, sort of watching and noticing the changes as they occur. Just knowing that the space is there. Just meeting yourself right where you are. There's nowhere else you need to be, no shoulds. Just right here, right now. Accepting, allowing, kind. We're almost near the end. There's about 30 seconds left. If you feel like you can go a little bit further, maybe just meet that edge. Say hello. Here it is, our last breath. Take a long inhale and a maybe dramatic exhale. And then slowly making your way back up. I promise your legs will come together. Just be slow as you maybe bend the knees and drag them in. Oh, I love that crazy sensation at the end of a pose. I might be on my own, that's okay. You can just rock a little bit from side to side. You don't need me to guide you here. If there are like particular movements that are going to feel really yummy in the hips or in the body at this time, then let's just do that. And then from here, I'm going to get you just to turn to face the middle of the room and come back onto your hands and knees. I find that most of the time my body longs for a down dog at some point in my day, usually sporadically throughout my day. So I'd love for us to do a down dog before we do too much more. So place your hands just slightly forward of your shoulders, please. And even bring your fingertips, your pinky finger, right to the edges of your mat. Now as you inhale, let's get really long along the sides of our body. So you can actually shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. And then as you exhale, just melt your upper back, keeping your arms straight. So the space between the shoulder blades are going to sink down. Then take your tailbone in just a little bit to feel your lower belly lift. And now as you inhale, tuck your toes, lift your knees away from the floor, and then press your chest back towards your thighs. Yes, great. And let's mindfully sort of move our legs here. So as you inhale, bend your right knee and press your left heel down towards the ground. Then on your next inhale, bend your left knee and exhale to press your right heel down. So just moving with the breath. Inhale to bend the right and press the left. And exhale to switch. Good, and exhale, switch. Good. Keep your bum in the air as you do this. Then switch again. Let's just do one more on each side. And then when you've done both sides, just pause for 2 breaths in the middle here. Again, taking your chest back towards your thighs, you relax your head between your arms. Good. On your next inhale, please walk your hands back to meet your feet. So walk your hands back to meet your feet. Yeah, so I actually want us to be right up towards the walls. Yeah. We're gonna do a squat pose, and I actually want you to lean your sacrum up against the wall. So I'll show you here. So you don't even have to be, even if you just have like a little bit of the windowsill, and I can give you my spot too if you prefer. You're gonna start with your feet quite wide, so wider than your hips, and even turn the toes out on a soft angle. You can brace yourself with your hands as you slide your bum right down towards the wall. Great. Yeah. Look, you can actually come right here. Come right here. Oh, look. She's too cute, too cute. Yeah, I love it. Yes. Now try to come right down into your squat. And then as you come down, lean back. Lean your shoulders back, lean your head back. Yeah. Are you okay there with the sill in your back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you come here? Okay. Come here. There you go. Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah, so take your feet just a little bit wider. And then go right down if you can. So another option that's really nice too is if you're close, you're like, I'm close, but I'm not totally there yet, is to come down and sit right. Come down a little further. Yes, there you go. Now everyone, bring your knees to the inside, or excuse me, your elbows to the inside edges of your knees. And I actually just want you to press your knees out.
How far from the wall?
Come down, let's see. You look like you're good. Maybe bring your feet a little further away. And then sit down. Yes, perfect. So try to bring your shoulders back towards the wall, press your elbows out. How you doing? I know, right? So Linda's going to show a great example of what you can do if you can't. If your knees are limiting you, you're just going to pull your feet actually a little bit wider. Yeah, and then pull the knees back. You got it. Take a few more breaths. So squatting like this is really great, not only for the hips, but for the lower back. It's great for digestion, for moving into your stomach and your intestines, moving the fluids around. If you look at third world countries, most of them squat. They'll eat their meals like this. They'll work out in the fields like this. And the statistics show that it's actually only civilized countries that have chronic back pain, chronic back issues, that a lot of the third world countries, and again, this is just sort of a general stat, that the third world countries don't. Of course, there are exceptions to these types of rules, but it's mostly because of the way that they sit. They don't have a lot of furniture. They sit on the floor a lot of the time. All right, that was my pep talk. Bring your fingertips down, slight distraction, and then however you can, sort of crawl up the wall. Yeah. And just place your fingertips on the floor and straighten your legs. Oh yeah. You can swish your hips from side to side. Sort of maybe brush your bum against the wall. And then with a soft bend in your knees, just take your hands onto your hips Lift your shoulders up, lift your chin up, and then inhale to stand all the way up. Ah, good job. And we can come back to the mat. Staying, actually walk to about the middle of your mat here, please, and bring your feet in a little closer. So they're about hips distance apart at this time. Take a big inhale. Let's just stretch our arms up over your head. Good. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down along the sides of your body and reach your hands behind you just to interlace your fingers. Again, keeping that soft bend in your knees so the weight of your body is pressing evenly down into your feet. I want you to stick your bum back enough that your hip flexors here are actually soft and deep. And keeping your bum back just for a moment here. As you inhale, lift the sides of your body up till your chest lifts. And then as you exhale, pull your shoulders back into the sockets. Yeah, don't even straighten the arms yet. Just squeeze the shoulder blades together. You can slightly lift your chin. Take a few breaths. Now, keeping this broadening action in your back, so in your bum, I want you just to take the tailbone in enough that you feel your lower belly lift, and now start to straighten your arms and stretch your hands towards the floor. So before you straighten your arms, I'm actually gonna get you to bend, and then take a big inhale, lift your, and then squeeze, yes, and now start to straighten your arms back. Yes, good, I know. Breathe. So traditionally, we will start to really lift our hands up into the air, and you can actually do that, but what I want you to focus more on is reaching your hands towards the baseboards, towards the floor, as you stretch your chest out in front of you. I know you've been holding this longer than I have, so let's just take one more breath together. Good, and then release. Give your arms a bit of a shake. Take a big inhale and stretch your arms up over your head, please. As you exhale, you're gonna stick your bum out, move the thighs back, and fold forward. Good. Again, with a soft bend in your knees, particularly if you have shorter hamstrings, release your arms and just hold either elbow here. As you hold either elbow, let your head dangle between your arms. We'll hold this for a few breaths. If you feel like your lower back is bothering you at all, then bending the knees bigger or deeper will allow for that curve in the lower back and generally take the strain out of the lumbar spine. What I really want you to do here is let go of your head. There aren't many times in our day where we do this, where we just let go of our head. And it's really therapeutic for the cervical spine, encouraging the fluids, the synovial fluids of the body to rush into this area. Last few breaths. And slowly releasing your elbows, just bending your knees enough to get your fingertips to the floor. You're going to step your feet back and come down onto your hands and knees. And then you're going to lie all the way down onto your belly. You can widen your elbows and just rest your forehead down on your forearms. Take a few breaths here. And again, soften, relax, rest, allow. Whatever word, whatever phrase, surrender, soften. It's going to allow for you to let go. Gently on your next inhale, roll over onto your back, please. The last pose that we're going to do here before Shavasana is called twisted roots, and it's a reclining twist that can actually help you get a bit into the side of your body. So I'll walk you through it, and then if you really don't like it, you can just do a 2-knee twist to one side too. So first we're actually going to open our arms out to a T, and I know we have this sort of sweet intimate space, so you can either hold hands or you can just bend your elbows a bit like little cactus arms. Great. Now walk your feet in until your knees are bent, and then cross your right leg over your left. So you're crossing your right leg over your left. And you're actually crossing your thighs on top of each other until your knees are on top of each other, just like this. My Nana would say, sitting like a lady. There you go. Now from here, bring your knees up towards your chest and then take your knees over to the left side. Now you'll find that your hips are kind of skewed, so take both of your knees to the left side. So now lift your bum up and just move your hips towards the right side as you let your knees fall a little deeper towards the left. Yeah, you got it. So actually move your bum back a little bit more this way. Yes, there you go. So for some of you are actually quite flexible. So you can take, yeah, you are, you're doing good. You can actually take your toes behind the calf here, which will take the stretch on the side of the hip even deeper. And if you're like, I don't want to go deeper, then you don't have to. Let's try moving everyone's knees a little bit higher up towards your arms. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah, there you go. That's perfect, Linda. And again, you've settled, you've sort of adjusted enough that you can feel your body and that it ultimately feels nice here. With that understanding and with that awareness, just soften, sort of let go. Relax your shoulders and relax your face. You okay here with your shoulder? Feel free just to sort of hug, yeah. And then with the heaviness of your elbow, you just sort of soften the shoulder. Yeah, you got it. And relax through your jaw, relax in your eyes. It's common to find yourself sort of floating off into the rest of your day or floating off to any past events, and that's okay. Don't judge yourself, don't beat yourself up about it. Just whenever you can, just come back here to the moment, to the sensations of the twist, to the depth of your breath. On your next inhale, you can sort of unhook your toes if they're clipped around the calf and then bring yourself back onto your spine. Feel free, as like always, to moan or sigh, to sort of let go verbally any of that tension. And then a little bit of freestyle before we change sides. So maybe that's just being still. Maybe that's swishing the hips from side to side. Sometimes you want to lift your bum up or stretch your arms over your head. Just take a few moments to do what's sort of calling to you. And then joyfully, let's do the other side. So you can widen your elbows and your shoulders out onto the ground. And this time we're going to take our left leg over our right. So again, you cross the legs right on top of each other, thigh to thigh, knee to knee. Then you can scoot, even before you lift your knees up, you can actually scoot your bum over towards the left side and then drop the knees over to the right side. Bringing your knees a little higher up towards your arms, it will actually help target the twist a little higher up through the spine. It'll also help you stretch the side of the hip a little deeper. Yeah, I know, two sides, right? We are asymmetrical beings, so one side's gonna feel sometimes quite extremely different than the other side. And in honor of our intention today, just sort of be accepting and loving of it, just like we're loving and welcoming of our children being different, of our loved ones and pets and friends and coworkers. This unique and special energy we all have. You know what? I hate that word, supposed to. Your twist looks really good, so I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. Linda had a great question. She asked if her shoulder was supposed to be down. You know, in a twist like this, the intention is that the body is sort of pulled in different directions. So the shoulders are intended to be heavy and sort of down towards the ground, and the knees in the opposite direction. And some teachers are quite particular about making sure that the shoulders are down. It's everyone's different case, and yours looks really good, so I wouldn't worry about it. What you want to feel here in the twist is that great twist in the belly and through the spine. In this particular pose, you can feel a bit of a stretch from the side of the hip. I'm actually going to get you just to rest right there. Is that okay? Yeah, good. You can feel even an opening up through the shoulders, up through the front of the pecs. Relaxing, feeling, allowing. And gently on your next inhale, you can unclip the toes and untwist the legs as you come back onto your spine. And then we're going to come into Shavasana. So before we do that, feel free to, if there's a particular pose you've been longing to do, or a particular movement, maybe opening the knees or knocking the knees from side to side, or stretching or twisting or lifting the hips, and you can do all of those before we settle down for our full relaxation, for our full final pose. Feel free, if you'd like a blanket, just placing your hands on your belly and I will come tuck you in. I'm a good tucker inner. Yeah, let it out with a big sigh. This is really where our yoga practice begins. So where our body is able to process, to sort of digest the practice, the poses, the mindfulness. And relax your face. Soften your jaw. And very gently start to deepen your breath, please. You can bring some gentle movements back to your fingers and back to your toes. And when you're ready, as you inhale, you can stretch your arms up over your head and point your toes away from you, getting nice and long. And then exhale just to relax and allow for you to be as you are. And start to slowly walk your feet in until your knees are bent. And this time, you're just going to roll to your right side, resting for a few breaths in your fetal position. Your arm can rest underneath your head and your heart turns down sort of lovingly towards the floor and the earth. Just take a few breaths here, letting the energy and the blood of your body settle. Roll a little more to this side, please, and press into your hands to come mindfully back up to a seat. We'll sit here with our eyes closed and our spines nice and tall, just briefly for a few breaths. An important part of our yoga practice, and even along the lines of this theme today of balance, it's imperative that we recognize how we're feeling at the end of the practice. You acknowledge the areas that have been balanced and your sense of well-being and harmony. It's a moment of celebration, a moment of gratitude. I invite you to continue to be attentive, to be sensitive, to question and consider sort of what it is that you need in each moment to find this place of balance. Maybe it's more rest and maybe it's more action. Let's touch our hands together in front of our heart again in honor of our energy here today and this sense of balance. We'll close just with one Om. So start with a cleansing breath. Take a big inhale and a dramatic exhale. And inhale softly to begin. And bow graciously, even humbly, to you and to each other. Thank you so much for coming for class today. Namaste.